Hi guys, good evening. Welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I'll be doing my episode review for the most recent episode of AMC's The Walking Dead, which debuted last night, of course. I missed it last night. I was busy, but I just watched it a few moments ago, and now I'd like to discuss with you guys what I thought of it and what I think is to come in the next couple episodes. So, as usual, please be warned that this video review will be full of big spoilers regarding the most recent episode of Walking Dead. If you're not caught up, do not keep watching or listening to this video, as I will be discussing big spoilers, so you have been warned. That being said, another really interesting episode from The Walking Dead. You know, I know a lot of people have had some complaints lately about how ever since episode 2, the show feels like it's kind of dragging along or almost moving along slowly. I totally get why you guys would say that. But also, just knowing the history of the show, it has its slow moments, but it's because the slow moments are usually building up to something pretty awesome, and it usually has never let us down in the past. It's like we see that that we get a couple of slower episodes, but then just something astounding happens that makes like, oh, that was worth the buildup, that was worth the wait. So I'm not worried, and I'm still enjoying the show. They may be a bit slower, not as action packed, but it's still very enjoyable for me personally, and I hope you guys are still enjoying it. And another thing too is that because of how dark and gruesome and heartbreaking and devastating the season premiere was, it's kind of hard to top that. So, I mean, and then we got a nice, huge sense of relief and a much calmer episode with the introduction of King Ezekiel and Shiva, the kingdom. And I've enjoyed the other episodes that have followed since then, and I liked this episode a lot too. And I just got to believe that they're building up to something really big, really awesome, and they usually don't let us down. So I'm looking forward to it. And a lot of people may be keeping true to their promises. People were genuinely pissed about Glenn dying. I'm sure they were mad about Abraham dying as well, but I think Glenn was the real hard hitter. And with him dying, I think they lost a lot of their fan base. Hell, they probably would have lost a lot more if it had been Daryl. But anyway, I'm getting off point here. My point is, it may be frustrating or may feel a bit slow, but let's keep watching. It's fun. It's a fun, exciting show. So we got to see what Tara and Heath had been up to since last we saw them. For those of you who may be a bit confused as to why these two, went off on their own little supply adventure, excuse me. So last season, after they wiped out the Saviors at the outpost at the satellite station, Tara and Heath go on a 2-week supply mission to just look for supplies, scavenge, and whatnot. The reason behind that is that I don't know if that was originally planned or not, but the actress who plays Tara, Alana Masterson, became pregnant with her first child. So she went on maternity leave halfway through or a little bit before the end of season 6. So that's why she's been absent for so long. But this also gave them an opportunity for Heath and Tara to have their own little adventure, which is what this most recent episode was all about. It was interesting to see how Heath was still struggling and coping to deal with the aftermath of what they had done to the Saviors at the satellite station. It's like he was having a hard time living with himself almost, or he was just having a hard time grasping the concept of, yeah, we did the right thing. We did the right thing. I mean, we murdered all those people, but we did the right thing. And Tara's there, she's a bit, stronger. I would almost say stronger than him because, she's been out there in the world really surviving it for a lot longer than he has. And, she was telling him that, hey, yeah, you know what, we had to kill those people, but we did it because, we got to do what we got to do. So, and what was also great was that we got to see Tara really on her own, like truly on her own ever since her introduction to the series. I mean, obviously, after the governor attacked the prison, she wound up with Glenn. She was very guilt ridden for the longest time. They reunite with the rest of the group. She's slowly accepted into Rick's group. And now this whole episode was pretty much all about Tara. And it was like a Tara spin-off episode. And I liked it. I thought it was interesting. You know, she's a very charming, humorous character. I would say she's almost the comic relief of the show. I don't know if she's the comic relief, but she definitely brings an element of humor and life to the show. And, I think people can use a good laugh during the apocalypse. And, she can be sarcastic and a smartass, but it's what makes her character so charming. And she's also very smart and resourceful, as we saw when she escaped her captors earlier in the episode. That was pretty cool. I thought it was interesting how the Saviors decided not to pursue this group of women and kids for abandoning their original home and not working for them, because Negan wouldn't put up with that shit or tolerate it. But maybe he decided it wasn't worth it, because it's like, well, maybe in his mind he thought, well, what good could a bunch of women and kids do for me anyway? Like, what can they actually gather or find for me? So maybe he decided to let it go, or maybe he didn't notice, or he doesn't care. But I had a suspicion that the Saviors were going to come into play in this episode based on the look of the women's faces when Tara's having dinner with them, and she explains that she and her people killed a bunch of other nastier people at a satellite station, and they all started looking around the table at one another, like they're looking down their plates, and then they looked up to one another like, we know what that is, we know who that is. But what else this episode did as well, and it really shocked me, because at first I'm like, and it actually made me gasp out loud. I was like, when she's back at the bridge and she thinks, oh no, poor Heath has become a walker. And then the walker turns around and it's like, oh, okay, it's just an African-American woman in a dress, and it's obviously a woman with a similar hairstyle to Heath. So Heath is still out there, I think. I do not believe he's dead. I don't think they would kill him off that fast. We only got introduced to him last season, and we saw very little of him, and I have a feeling they're going to play his role out a little bit longer. At least that's what I'm hoping. That's another thing I loved about this episode tonight, was revealing all of the walkers trapped in the huge sand pile on the bridge. That was very cool. The walkers emerging from the sand or from the dirt, whatever it was. It reminded me of like the scenes in the Mummy movies, the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies, when the mummies would emerge from the sand and they're all like, that's what these walkers reminded me of. And plus, some of them were kind of bald and wearing ragged clothes and very ragged looking, and they very well could have been mummies at first glance, just because of the color of the sand that the walkers were doused in. And I just thought that was pretty cool. I'm like, oh, all right, it's very mummy-ish, but it's a cool walker effect. I also like seeing Tara and Heath take on the walkers together, those two against like a small horde. That was also very cool. So I liked this episode. I liked it a lot. And like I said earlier, I know a lot of people are having problems with the show right now, and we're still probably reeling from Glenn and Abraham's shocking deaths. And we're having a hard time liking Negan. But I personally really like Negan. I mean, yeah, he's an asshole and a psychopath, but Jeffrey Dean Morgan is such a good actor, and he plays it so well. And yes, I am looking forward to seeing Negan's eventual downfall or demise. And I don't believe we're going to be seeing that for quite a while at least. But I'm really, really loving the hell out of him. And I'm just loving the show altogether. The show always keeps me gripped with every episode. It would take a hell of a lot for me to say I did not like this episode of The Walking Dead. And perhaps that'll happen. Hopefully not, but if it does, you guys will be the first to know. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me for another episode review here on the EdWord. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more review videos like this one. Also, check out my Facebook page in the description down below. I think you'll like what you see. The Walking Dead has 2 more episodes left in the first half of this season. Episode 7 premieres this Sunday, and then the mid-season finale, the 8th episode, premieres in 2 more weeks. So we've got 2 more left before the winter break, And I have a feeling that everything is building up to something. I truly, truly believe that. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of the night. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.